All right, welcome back to Inside the 90. And this is part 2 of AI and our use cases within AI. So if you have not listened to part 1, rewind, because I think we have a little context in there. Listen to that one first, and we're just going to pick right up.
Yep.
Right where we're at. And so part 1, we talked all about vibe coding.
Accidentally.
Accidentally. We were supposed to talk multiple things, but we spent way too much time on vibe coding.
It's the most excited at the moment.
Yes, and it is kind of like our Thursday night dinner. All of a sudden, we're 4 hours later, and we're like, we probably should go home.
Yeah, it's raining and we're standing outside.
Yes. So where I want to pivot a little bit is just general ChatGPT use, right?
Yeah.
Like the general LLM, whether it's Chat, it's Grok, it's Gemini, whatever you use. And just kind of some of the things that you've seen and I've seen that we've utilized in that world.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most fascinating things that I've seen that you've done is helping you guide conversations.
Yeah.
With individuals, even from a management perspective and leadership perspective. And you've done it mainly through a Kolbe lens.
Correct.
Kolbe, Working Genius.
Yeah.
So maybe just kind of talk about what spurred that, and then we can kind of dig in.
Yeah, I think, so we use, for the context of the platforms, I'll give you that. So like I started in ChatGPT and used it the same way everybody else was doing it, just information, writing job descriptions, trying to write some copy.
Yeah.
And then Gemini came out and we're Google Suite. So then we tried some of that. And then went from personal to professional accounts, right? So then it's like, all right, well now I got 2 of those and on my phone and then once Grok really started cranking, like I just use Grok on my phone now personally, because that way none of my texts, not that I'm concerned or asking it things that I don't want people to see, but I really, for a quick responses, I was getting all my work stuff blended in with my ChatGPT stuff or my Gemini stuff. So Grok, I just use personally. That's where I ask it stuff.
Grok personally, and then ChatGPT professionally.
ChatGPT is where I have the most depth, and then down the road when we talk about vibe marketing, I'll talk about Gemini.
Okay.
But yeah, so in ChatGPT, I have like purpose built. Everything's kind of very purpose built, and I tell it who it is. So I have one for EOS.
Yes.
And I'm like, you are a professional EOS implementer. Mm-hmm. And I may have put your LinkedIn profile in it. I don't remember. But so, when it's just like, all right, let me lean into the system. This is an issue. Let me ask it. I've got that.
Yeah.
But then I built another one that's just called coaching. And,
and these are projects you're talking about.
Well, actually, no, that's good clarification. So in ChatGPT Pro or Enterprise or whatever it is, there are projects. These are custom GPTs.
Okay. Yes.
Because I'm not sure today if projects are totally secure. Custom GPTs are not feeding the LLM. So this is stuff that I don't want, out there. So I create custom GPTs and then I just bookmark them. So I literally go to my GPT bookmark and there are 60 and I just keep them in alphabetical order. And I'm like, I'm looking for a helper-coach and I'll go to that one. But I'm not, I would say I am a much better leader of managers than I am a manager of people. Mm-hmm. And it's my quick start. It's my go. I'm not the most, I would say I'm easy to relate to, but I'm not the most empathetic person. I'm just, very black and white and objective when it can come to some of these things.
Yeah.
And I say that I'm an objective thinker, but an emotional communicator. So, my brain's black and white, but I can ramble and talk, you know. Yeah. So when doing feedback or really want to give coaching, I just want to be more intentional. Mm-hmm. So I've created a helper GPT that has all of my team. It has all of their Kolbes. Just by itself, ChatGPT does not, under LLMs in general, don't understand. If you put in Kolbe 5463, it's going to mess it all up. So you have to spell out and say, here's my fact finder, follow through, quick start, implementer, give them the numbers for each person.
Yes.
Do the same thing with Working Genius. And then I just ask it questions. I'm like, hey, I need to give feedback on this. How should I do that? And it knows. And it knows my Kolbe. And it'll be like, well, your natural instinct is this. But a great example is my wife. So she's, I'm a 7 quick start. She's a 1. Right?
That can't cause any issues.
Yeah. And, so like, so I just I've learned that like if I'm 7 steps ahead and have identified a problem and solved it. And then if I tell someone who's a lower quick start about that, it's like they haven't even have time to process it, right? Mm-hmm. So really it just helps me kind of it asks me questions. I mean, I can spend 3 hours actually going through the team, asking questions, figuring out how to give feedback. And it slows me down and it makes me much more intentional.
Absolutely.
And then actually it's real, right? It's authentic. It's no different than me having a coach.
Yeah.
And that coach giving me some advice. And, you know, coaches tend to ask good questions. And that's even feedback is much more about asking good questions than it is just saying, hey, when you did this, this happened.
Right.
So it just really helps me think through how do I do this to give this person feedback in the right way.
Yeah. And then you will put it into the context of right person in the right seat.
Yes.
So you would then say, okay, now this is how I can present this feedback based on this. Now, am I actually talking about a core value?
Correct.
Concern?
Yes.
Or is it a get it, want it, or capacity
to do it,
like the GWC?
Yeah.
Based on the roles and responsibilities. And now you have that context to say, okay, this is how I can approach it. This is where I can place it.
Yeah.
And then you can have that in the quarterly conversation.
Correct. So I do have an EOS one, but inside my coaching one is Kolbe, Working Genius, and EOS.
Okay, and
so
you placed
and our
those.
core values, it knows those things.
Yeah.
So and it is, you know, it's spooky about how conversational it gets when you're just asking questions and it's telling you things, and then you're saying, well, here's some more context about it. What about this? And it's just super powerful. And even, and I don't want to sound like this is in like employee crisis mode. Like this is just like in general, like, hey, I'm having a one-on-one.
Yeah.
You know, here, let me give some tips on, you know, what are some things I
think
need
it's
to
really
ask.
powerful if we just think about how to use it in the EOS world.
Yeah.
Right. So you think about, we typically have Kolbe's, Working Genius. We have our core values defined with the descriptions.
Yeah, the accountability chart.
We have the accountability chart. We have measurables.
Yeah.
We have rock completion. So we have all this context. And I think where I see it really powerful is these quarterly conversations.
Yeah.
Like we load it with that information and we say, hey, this is what's happened over the last quarter. This is the things I've witnessed, I've recognized. Help me make the connection of those items and place this in the right place to make sure that I'm mentoring this teammate appropriately in ways that they are going to understand and really, are energized by rather than me crushing them.
Yeah.
So I think there's way, and then having that conversation back and forth, even if it doesn't have the perfect answer, it gives you clarity by working through that.
And a lot of times it's even when you're like, well, I don't really know what questions to ask, then you just ask the LLM like, hey, I don't know what questions to ask. Ask me questions so you can help me know what better questions to ask. Right? Mm-hmm. It's like you can literally just, I would say the art of using the LLMs or ChatGPT is being patient enough to delegate properly. Yeah. And like I'm a high quick start, I'm really not good at delegating, right? Yeah. My thing is like I want to give you 20% of the information and go. But it's getting good results out of an LLM is actually making me a better leader and manager because it slows me down to actually think through, if I'm going to ask someone to do something, I've got to give them the information that they need.
Absolutely.
I have to give them the ability to answer some questions. So the irony is like we're using LLMs the way we should be communicating all the time anyway.
Yes. But I enjoy this because there's a trend that I'm seeing right now that I'll talk to a lot of leaders and they're dealing with this situation and they're in a position where they feel like they need to fix it.
Yeah.
And they need to have the answer to then go talk to the person. It's like, just like go talk to the person.
Correct.
Just let them in on how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Like just talk to them and you together can come to a solution.
Yeah.
And you together can talk about these things. And I think what's so powerful the way that you're using it is it's providing that.
Correct.
It's not you're not looking for the answer to make a move or do something. You're using it into how do I have this conversation effectively?
Yeah.
Rather than replacing the conversation. Because I think that's what's dangerous. Like I've seen people try to create a gem or create a ChatGPT where they're trying to actually shorten the conversation.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Where it's like, okay, I'm going to make a ChatGPT to write a proper rock. Like I want it to write a smart rock for me. Well, that's not what we're looking to do here. The power of writing a rock as a team together is alignment and clarity.
Correct.
Just by shortening that and getting a well-written rock doesn't allow any alignment and clarity, actually. It's just like, oh, that sounds good, move on.
Yeah.
Well, what do we actually even know what that means behind that?
Yeah.
No. So like, I think there's places that we have used it that is actually damaging, and there's places that are really supportive.
Correct.
And I think it's like a lens for me is it replacing the conversation or is it enhancing the conversation?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I would say it's not about efficiency. You know, it's
at least in this perspective.
Correct. Yeah, I think actually I have a LinkedIn post I just wrote that's going to publish next week where I said, you know, the threat to marketing isn't AI, it's impatience. Right. I think, and that's what some of this is too, is it's like the goal is increasing the quality of conversation and connection, right? It's wanting to be a better leader, not wanting to be a faster, get my point across,
right?
You know, leader.
Yeah, I love it.
And I'm even on some of that too. Is just I don't know if it's maturity or I guess what they call when you get some gray hair wisdom, but like I would say I am much more of the just let things play out and give things time mode than I was, 10, 20 years ago. And so I'll use it to ask, like, what parts do I just need to, address now? And I don't need to solve everything, you know? And it's okay, I feel like, to lead with clear expectations that we don't know the whole thing, but this is the logical next step.
Yeah.
And so this is where we are, we're aligned, now we're going to take the logical next step. And then after that, there'll be another step, but we don't have to bring, that the idea of false clarity is like, we want to know, but we really don't. So it's like, I'm not trying to use it to be like, we're solving everything, we know exactly what we're doing. It's just, this is an issue, right? Mm-hmm. Let's solve this issue. And if all it does is create a next step, we didn't have to solve it, but we at least got momentum out of it.
Well, I think what's so powerful is what you're talking about is, and it's been fun to watch you evolve as a leader too, kind of through this. I'm sure that's a lot of that's always been there. But in LMA, when you think about the 5 leadership principles and the 5 management principles, we start with the 5 leadership principles, which is giving clear direction, right? And creating the opening for people. And so by what you're talking about is exactly that.
Yeah.
Like, you're giving this direction of where we need to get to, what our vision is, where we want to go, create the opening and creating the space, right? Setting expectations, that's part of the management principles, setting the proper expectations. But nowhere in that LMA is saying we need to solve it.
Correct. Yes.
It's actually saying the opposite.
Yeah.
We need to trust and let go of the vine and allow people to come along us and help us solve those things.
Yeah.
And like a lot of it is like, you got to let things play out at times.
Yeah.
As long as you're giving the clear direction, as long as you're creating the space, you're creating the opening, you're letting go of the vine.
Yeah, and letting go of the outcome too. It's like we know, it's that the control, the curiosity is just, I don't have to be right. We just need to make progress. You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think the other thing I would say that's happened accidentally is through using AI and then kind of the vibe coding wave is the impact that it's had on our culture and our team. Like, this is the third quarter where everybody has an AI rock. You get to choose what it is, but go figure something out. Like use AI to do something. And I think I accidentally have set a pace, to where now there's excitement, there's enthusiasm. Everybody in the company is doing something. And that's it's a happy accident. It wasn't the intent.
Yeah.
But it just the what we're producing and using and how people are engaging with it has just impacted morale. It's got people excited, and there's no one, we're not sitting here worried about, oh my God, am I going to lose my job? Everybody's doing cool things to add value to their role.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one thing, just because I get to witness your culture fairly closely, that is a principle that you've been able to keep is you don't let it in on the conversations and the alignment and the clarity times. Like you're not letting AI in on a level 10 meeting. You're not letting AI in on quarterly planning. Like we're still shut down the technology.
Yes.
We're pen and paper. We're doing this work together.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's a crucial formula.
Yes.
Is not replacing that.
Correct. Yeah. And we're not forcing it.
Right.
We're trying to we're trying to all be educated, staying relevant. I mean, as an agency, we are creative, we are agile, we are doing different things all the time. That's usually different than our businesses. I mean, our clients and their businesses, right? They have plans and they, a little bit more structure from the business perspective. We're creating things all day long.
Yeah.
So there's all types of cool ways that we can bring new tools in.
Absolutely. Awesome. Ready to move on to vibe marketing, or you have something more on the
I think that
general LLM?
No, I think it's a transition to what's going on in the marketing world.
I think the general LLM too is primarily what people know.
Yeah.
So there's probably a lot more out there of understanding. That's where people are spending most of their time.
Yeah.
But you came in there today and you said a term I haven't heard yet, which is vibe marketing.
Yeah, I just heard this term yesterday, and I'm like, oh, there's the label to what we've been existing as for the past few months.
Yeah.
But there's so much going on right now, and I think the logical conversation to start is, the shift from people searching from Google to now people using LLMs, and you'll hear people say like, I never use Google anymore. Well, actually, the Google searches in the past period, I don't know if it's 6 months or 12 months, but Google searches have increased, right? The LLM searches have increased. So overall, like the number of searches in the world has dramatically increased, but it's fractionalized.
What do you equate that to?
What Google's now embedded, Gemini into some of the search features. So, there was the idea 4 months ago that Google's being left behind. And then all of a sudden, like Gemini comes out cranking. They've got it native now in search. They're pushing it into the whole Google suite. So Google's gone from laggard to leader, in the past 4 months. So that's one thing that we're trying not to do is kind of like keep up with the Joneses on everything. Let's just make sure we're focused on the right tool for our solutions that we need. But what has moved is search, right? So what used to be called SEO, search engine optimization. Now you'll hear GEO and a bunch of other terms. We've landed on AEO, which is answer engine optimization. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of conversations there too about like clients are calling us and being like, hey, like how do we do this? You know, what's your strategy? We're getting the 2 inbound leads in the past 2 weeks came through for Wonder, in the forum, and it says they found us through chat search. So like people are doing it. It's not a no one uses Google anymore. Everyone's still using Google and they're using these other things. Yeah. And so I think that's not true vibe marketing, but that's the AE impact on marketing, right? That's the initial conversation. Gotcha. But now we're getting into, all right, well, how are we using the tools to, a year ago, it was like we're using AI, but didn't want our clients to know. Right? It's like, because then they're going to think they don't, and I say that as an industry, like I've never had that fear.
Right.
But a year ago, it was like, all right, we're testing copy. How is it doing copy?
Right.
And then I would say in the past 9 months, we got really clear on copy. Like we have ChatGPTs for each of our clients. We feed it, they're getting it as a custom GPT, so it's secure, but we feed it brand, voice, and tone and all that stuff. And we still have some of the best writers in the universe that are doing our ideas and coming up with campaigns and concepts. But once that's established, then it's like, cool, we can write on brand, we can write voice and tone, we can write really good intent, blogs and SEO articles.
Right.
But it's a tool where, I always say you got to start with your own point of view. Like, what's your point of view? Let's give it that. And then, you can make a good writer great. But it has to do with, do you know what you're putting in and do you know what you want to get out? And I see clients, I would say more than us, more than agency writers, a lot of clients not understanding, like, how do I understand what good copy is? So, ChatGPT is going to spit out emojis and horizontal rules and M dashes, the M dash is like the one thing. It's like, come on.
I know.
But using it for
what used to be such a unique
yes, it's
way of
totally
writing
killed it.
is now killed it.
Yes.
Yeah. Mark Alamisi is turning over because he loved the M-dash before anybody knew what the M-dash was. Yeah.
It's like kale. Kale used to be like, that was the garnish at Pizza Hut, right?
Yeah.
And now
exactly
it's everywhere.
right. It was on the salad bar.
Yeah.
Garnish.
But I guess that'd be the inverse of the M-dash. But so that's I think writing is where it started. But now we're seeing it move into all aspects of creative.
Yeah. So help me understand AEO and SEO
a
little bit, because in my my mind says, well, isn't what's good for SEO good for AEO?
So yes. So your strategy for strong SEO, could have been and should have been what is a good strategy for strong AEO.
Okay.
And that is, I've been saying the best place from an SEO perspective to start with writing blog content is to overcome the most frequently asked questions in your sales process, right? So if you were writing in a way that was answering the questions that your prospects were always having, and that helped you overcome those objections, then you've been doing great LLM or AEO copy all along, right? So FAQs is where the keywords was the focus with SEO. Now context is the focus with AEO. As people are putting them in question format, and then instead of going to your website and reading, your H1s and page titles and all of that, it's looking at your overall social footprint. So it's weighing, like, is this brand consistent on LinkedIn? Do they have blog articles? Are they cited with
rather
citations?
than just finding a blog
Correct.
that hits these keywords that matches to this?
Correct.
Gotcha.
So it is context, and it is your overall brand, voice, and tone, and social proof and footprint.
Yeah.
And so if you were doing all of those things well all along, which everyone should have been doing, you're in a good spot.
Okay.
If you haven't been doing those things, then that's where you got to start now, is thinking about what's the context, what are people searching for, and how do I answer those questions?
Mm-hmm. Which is still a good SEO strategy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So in some terms, they go hand in hand.
Correct.
But you're not going to win AEO just by putting one blog out there.
Correct.
You got to win AEO by the whole strategy.
Absolutely.
And that's multi-channel?
Yeah, it is. And that's actually where I heard the word vibe marketing is, I'm just a dork. So I get on YouTube. I don't watch television anymore. And before I get in bed and I just find something interesting on YouTube that's AI related. And that's what I was watching last night. We just went on SEO because it is a conversation we're in regularly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we have multiple clients who asked about it. And when we told them that we planned it a year ago, and we showed them that they're already in the AI search result, so just good FAQs are the way to do it.
I love it. All right. So I think closing this one out, we got a couple things to just kind of hit on. We are not necessarily the experts in AE strategy and planning in general. Another plug to Jeff Yelton, our good buddy. 2 books, Agentic AI for Leaders.
Here we go.
Yeah. That's much more of like planning, context setting, and even piloting, like how to do a proper pilot. And then Responsible AI Governance in Practice, which is more on the security side.
Yep. And Jeff's got a 3rd one coming out too. So just follow him on Jeff Yelton, or go to workwithwonder.com and I'll get you a book if you want one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or go to Amazon, I guess. Jeff Yelton.
Yeah, awesome. Well, this one's been fun. This is definitely more of a pet project for us, and just an interest where we've been spending some of our extra time, right? When you think about the EOS life, one of those pillars for us is being able to spend time on things that we love.
And things that give you energy, right? And I actually, you and when I first got into doing all this stuff, you're like, hey, maybe we need to limit your enthusiasm. And I'm like, no, this isn't work. This is fun. This is my free time.
As long as this is not getting done over a rock.
Yes.
Okay. But as long as the rocks are getting right. So absolutely.
Yeah, that's fun. Maybe we'll do an episode 3, or I'm sure we will redo this in 6 months because the world will have changed.
All of this is completely old information.
Yeah.
And who knows how long.
Absolutely.
Which is awesome.
So y'all go do some vibe coding, vibe marketing, or just start using AI.
Absolutely. All right, Jimmy. Till next time.